Hey, Dr. Amanda, the Money Healer here. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about the entrepreneurial journey, and I'm going to do this vlog style. So I'm going to walk you through this awesome journey that my husband and I had over the weekend, where we went to Arizona and hit 4 national parks, went to the Grand Canyon, and had this really incredible adventure where one of my favorite quotes came to mind as we were taking this long 12-mile hike. It's a Chinese proverb that says, the journey or a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And for us, it was a journey of 12 miles, and your entrepreneurial journey is thousands of miles. It's the rest of your lifetime, potentially. And I noticed so many entrepreneurs hustling and bustling and rushing through it and feeling stuck and frustrated along the way and not really enjoying the journey. And the whole point of building a business and being an entrepreneur is to create freedom. So that's what I want to talk to you today as I walk through this journey that my honey and I had in Arizona this last weekend. Okay, so on the entrepreneurial journey, the first thing you got to do is decide. You've got to decide you're ready to build a business. And this is what was going on here for us in the comparison of building a business and going on a trip. We decided, hey, let's go to Arizona and have some fun. We were sitting and meditating one morning, and we were just feeling like, okay, we're about to move and we're spending a lot of money on moving, but hey, we got to keep dedicated to our decision to create a lifestyle that our businesses support. And so, as we do our work in the world, we go like, okay, our business needs to support us having fun, going on adventures, and we integrate it into business. So, while we're there, I take pictures and document as I go, Gary Vee style, and I just go, hey, let's have some fun while we're doing this, and let's adventure and play and be traveling entrepreneurs, and let's enjoy the journey instead of having this feeling where you're building a prison out of your business. And so here we are in Arizona. We were like, okay, let's fly to Arizona. A decision that was made in this way was really fun. We live in Colorado Springs, and our airport in Colorado Springs only flies direct to 5 places, and one of those places is Arizona. And we wanted the trip to be easy, and we wanted the trip to be fun and flowing and just simple and short and free, because we had points for flight, and we also had points for hotel. So we were like, okay, where can we go for free and have fun? And Arizona fit the bill. We are total national park geeks. And so we said, okay, Arizona, there's 4, 5, 6, there's several national parks that we can potentially hit in a couple of days. And so we made the decision and we manifested it. This is exactly how it works in business. You make a decision, I'm going to start a business. You decide the direction that you want to go in with your business, and then you take action in that direction, and then you let opportunities come your way. And this is really fun, because what happened for us next when we landed, we decided right before we got to the rental car place, we were like, you know what, let's get a really fun car, because my husband has a super fancy fun car and I don't really. And so I thought, I'm going to start testing out cars and that feeling of just being in a fast car to see how I like it. And then it'll help inform what I want to buy next. So in that manifestation piece, it's like, let's play with different opportunities or different things in the world until you really figure out what it is you want. So here we are in this really fun car. It was oh my gosh, I'm going to forget, Mustang, a Mustang 5.0, which is definitely not something that aligns with me in terms of what I would buy. But I thought, hey, we walked out there and we told them we want to upgrade our car, and they upgraded us a little bit and we paid for it. But then when we got out to pick up the car, they're like, oh, we'll give you this even bigger upgrade for free. And we were like, sure, why not? So we took this car. Turns out it was really funny because it had a limiter on the speed. It would only let us go 81 miles per hour, which was not so fun. But it was still this fun playfulness around just having fun on the journey and enjoying the process. Some people make traveling really stressful and they just don't enjoy the journey. Some people make business building really stressful and they don't enjoy the journey. So Abe and I are always about enjoy the journey, work less, make more, have fun. And this really aligns in that way. So when you're taking steps on your entrepreneurial journey, always remember, work less, make more, have fun. And how can you do that? It's just think of fun ways that you can enjoy the process more along the way. And it's all about your mindset. Okay. So next, here we are at one of Abe's favorite places in Phoenix. It's called Undertow. He's into Tiki bars and they make these really fabulous fun drinks. And at Undertow in Phoenix, it's like this underground place it's like you're on a ship. And so they have all these cool windows and they have amazing drinks and it's just this incredible setting. So we went with one of our friends, Garth, and we went and had drinks and we just played and laughed and had a great old time. Then, of course, we slept in a little bit because we stayed up being a little bit rowdy that night. And so the next morning we were like, okay, there was a fire in Flagstaff. And so we couldn't go to all the national parks that we thought we were going to go to. But there were still 3 along the way, on the way to Flagstaff and then one outside of Flagstaff. And then we were planning to go to the Grand Canyon the next day. So we went to these 3 national parks that were absolutely incredible. It was such a fun adventure because they were ones that we really hadn't researched well. And we just went and we thought like, hey, we're in this area. We have a stamp book that we're dedicated to filling up over time. And let's go on this playful, fun adventure and just see what's there. And it was really amazing because in Arizona, there's a lot of Native American communities, tribes and different artifacts in that area. So we went to Walnut Canyon, we went to Tuzagoot, and we went to, I'm going to forget the name of the last one. Let's see if it's in my list here. Montezuma Castle. Oh, these were incredible. So here's some pictures from them. You'll see in this first one, we were looking at the artifact and the ruins that they had built. So in these first few pictures, and then we went to, there was this really incredible and built into the side of the mountain, the Montezuma Castle, where you could just see this beautiful community that had been built there. And we got to look at the history and just play and have fun and learn and really be in the space of awe. So, relating this to your business adventures, I want you to think about how can you be in a space of awe at every stage of the game? Instead of letting yourself get overtaken by the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, how can you be in a space of learning and awe and go back to that place of childlike playfulness? So when you're, at national parks and you're looking at the wonders of the world, you're looking at history and you're empathizing with the people. And, partly I was thinking about how hard lives were then. And you're talking about living out in the open, the wind, the cold. One of the communities had to leave because there was a shortage of water and they think it was related to a drought. They're not certain why the tribal cultures left, but they think it's because there was this huge drought and they had to go because they couldn't get any more water. And I was just thinking about how wimpy we can be in our business building adventures and how our mindset can get so stuck in victim mindedness instead of going, okay, the journey can be a joyful ride. I'm taking one step on the way and I'm just going to go along with the flow. And it isn't, we make it seem like it's a life or death survival threat. And for the most part, it's not. We are afraid often that we're not going to have enough money to survive in our businesses. And then you create that. And in reality, most of us have access to opportunities where we could go get a job or we could go do something else. And it's just that you really want to build a business successfully and you really want to get to 6 or 7 figures. And your attitude about it causes resistance. So it causes you to then potentially have to abandon your business and do something else because now you haven't set up your mindset for long-term success. And so, of course, as I was going to these national parks, I'm always thinking about ways to tie it back to what I'm learning and how I'm growing and how I see the world. And one of those big pieces is gratitude. And so looking at the way that these communities had built their lifestyle and how challenging it was, they really were in a survival mode in a lot of ways, whereas we are not. And we create that fear for ourselves. So don't let yourself get stuck and this fearful mentality where you aren't having an abundance mindset and really stepping into your business for the long-term joy and fun of it. And even when the times get tough, how can you switch your mindset to a more empowered place? So those are some of the thoughts I was having while I was at these national parks, along with just really being in awe of how powerful people are and how much community matters. So in this next one where we're in these hoods, we went to the last one of the day, and it was called Walnut Canyon. And oh man, it was cold. It snowed while we were there. So we landed in Phoenix. It was almost 100 degrees. And then we drove the next day to Flagstaff area to go to these other national parks, and it was snowing. So we had a wide variety of things going on, much like the entrepreneurial journey. Sometimes you wake up and the money's flowing and it's warm and smooth and easy, and other times you wake up and it's cold and fluttery snow and you weren't imagining it to be that way, and you got to put on a coat and smile your way through it and wait for the next roller coaster ride adventure. And so that's what we did. We had a great time here, and then you'll see the next morning we woke up and went to Grand Canyon National Park. And here we hadn't really decided, we knew what hike we were going to go on, but we hadn't decided the length of the hike that we were going to choose. And the reason I say this, and this is important, is because here we are looking at the map, and I, in my very NFA style way, was like, do you see that point out there at the end? It's called Plateau Point. It's like the farthest you can go on a day trip. It was 6 miles out there. Okay, so you see this map. It's 6 miles out to the point, and it's one of the most heavily trafficked hikes in the Grand Canyon because it's actually, the path down is very easy in terms of their steps, and it's well cared for, so there's not like scrambling or scary hiking, but it's very steep. So you go 3,000 feet in elevation down into the canyon, and there's different distances, which is why it's also very popular. And there's water stops. So at 1.5 miles, 3 miles, 4.5 and miles, there's all water stops. And then at the 6 mile mark is where the very end is, where you get to that plateau point. And I was like, oh, that is where we're going. And I'm a trail runner, so I've run 12 miles lots of times. Abe has not. So I didn't know this at the time, but he was pretty intimidated by it. But he goes along with the flow very well. So he's like, sure, let's do it. So here we are at the next, where you're looking at the information. We go to the information center, and the guy goes like, oh no, you're starting way too late to do that hike. You need 12 hours. And I was like, 12 miles does not take 12 hours. What are you talking about? And I realized, he needed to tell certain people that, because if you're not a hiker, the weather conditions are very challenging potentially, because, when you're in the desert, the temperature can change really quickly. It's also a lot of altitude gain, and it's at high altitude, right? So the trailhead elevation is 6,800 feet. Living in Colorado Springs, we're already at 6,000 feet, so we're used to that. But I can see why on this map it says, it could potentially take 9 to 12 hours, and that's how long you need to give yourself. We weren't leaving until about 11:30, and we were like, well, let's see where we're at the 4.5 mile mark. But I already knew in my mind. I was like, oh, we're going all the way. I was talking about hiding the bag at 4.5 miles so we could run out there and then run back if we were running out of time, because we really didn't know how long it was going to take us. It sounded scary. It was like they were really warning, like, don't go that far, see how it's in the red on this map. It's saying for advanced hikers only and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm an advanced hiker. I'm an advanced runner. I know I can do this. It was reminding me of like a little bit of imposter syndrome. It was like, am I capable of this? I'm not sure. Even though like normally I wouldn't even for 1 second question whether I was capable of this because I run a lot. And I wasn't planning to run it, but I knew like, oh, a 12-mile hike. Yes, it's hard, and 100% I can do it. So here we are. We start out. It's called Bright Angel Trailhead, and we start out on the trip, and we're walking down, and it is just beautiful. You see this hole in the cliff, and there are like, there were definitely a lot of people there. So we actually ended up making better time up than down, because there were a lot of people on the way down, especially to about 3 miles, and then it thins out, and then there was almost nobody at the last part, because this is a very, it is a long hike. And so it took us a little while longer down, and you're talking 3,000 feet down is a lot. You got to step down a lot. It's hard on the legs, and it's hot and all that stuff. So yet, as we're going, it's just beautiful, like breathtaking. So I'm going to mix in some of my actual sounds here as we go through. That was amazing. And then got down to the bottom, and check this out. Just look at this. It's so beautiful. And I got this perfect moment that I just loved of these birds flying by in this one. Just like, oh my God, so beautiful. I was in awe. And then here we are finally. This is the last few, I'd say this is even about 0.1 miles to the Plateau point. And we didn't know what we were going to see, because we looked at the map. We knew the river was going to be there, but we haven't been to this place yet, and we didn't know what we were going to see. And the journey was like one step at a time. We're just going, and we're going, and we're like, what's going to happen when we get there? And what is it going to look like? And here we go. So we get to the edge, and this is what we saw, like the open expansion of the river. So this is the Colorado River. And we just, like, right when you get to the plateau, this is the view that you see. And it is just breathtakingly beautiful. And you can't see this at all from the top, okay? So if you're up at the top, all you see is this, like, distant faint trail where you can tell something goes out to the edge, but you can't see the Colorado River from where we started at all. And I was really thinking a lot about how this is like business building, where you're walking, you're going, you're not sure, you are, like thinking about getting hot and tired. It's the same thing as going like, the money's up and the money's down, the customers are there, the customers aren't, I don't know what I'm doing, I have uncertainty, sometimes I have imposter syndrome and doubts, and then you're like, but I'm gonna keep going because I'm dedicated, I'm committed, and I'm inspired. And that's how I was on this hike. It was just like, I'm going to the edge. I want to know what's there. I want to know what I'm made of. Yeah. And that's what we did. And then when we saw this view, it was like, oh, the angels singing, like just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scenery. And so of course I had to go to the edge. I'm not afraid of heights. So there was this barrier, but I went over it and sat on the edge with my feet hanging off of the cliff, and just let them swing and let the wind blow on me. And just, there were some rafters down in the river, and way down, and it was beautiful. And I just sat there and took it all in, and had gratitude for myself for being able to get there, had gratitude, of course, for Abe for being with me on the journey, and had gratitude for life. And I was thinking of all of you and just going like, this is the reward you get by continuing on the journey. Don't give up ever. Don't ever give up on your dreams. See what you're made of. You can do it. Like that. This is what you get to experience when you're willing to keep going and take one step forward and one step forward and one step forward. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We could equally say a journey of building $1 million business begins with a single step. A journey of building $100,000 business begins with a single step. So just know that you can do it and keep taking one step at a time. And then you get to see beautiful views like this, and you get to enjoy and experience the freedom and the bliss. We just hiked 3,000 feet down, and my feet are hanging off the edge of the Grand Canyon. So here's us on the way back now. And I love this because I didn't know that Abe was feeling freaked out about it. He's like, oh my God, we got to go back up 3,000 feet. And for me, like, I do a lot of hikes, so I wasn't freaked out about it. I knew what to expect. And so it reminded me, when you don't know what to expect, you don't know what to expect, and it can be intimidating and it can be scary, and you do it anyway. And so as we were walking back, so right about when I took this video, oh my gosh, We're at how many? Like 15,500 steps.
Yep.
And we did 6 miles down, 6.2, and it took 2.5 hours. And now we gotta go all the way back up there. Ooh. How you feeling, Abe?
I feel great.
And then we were walking back, and I said, how you doing? And, in the video, he said, like, I'm doing great. And then I said, how are you really doing? And he's like, I'm kind of scared. I'm a little intimidated. Like, he hasn't done a hike this long since he was in his teenage years, really. He said when he was a master scout, and he would like run camps and do all this hiking. And he said, I haven't done a hike like this in that long. And he's in good shape, but it still can be intimidating, And so I was like, well, it just take one step at a time. You've got it. Like, take one step at a time. And that's when that quote popped into my head. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I just kept thinking that as we were walking back. And, there about 1.5 miles back in is a little flat, and then it starts to just go straight up. And you're talking like in the last, it's like really 3 miles, 3,000 feet of gain. And it's pretty hard. And so we just kept going and going and going and stepping. And the journey was so beautiful. We just stopped and took a few videos along the way. All right. See that point right there? That's where we came from. We're halfway.
Piece of cake. Man is not sweating at all.
Good one. And we're celebrating our process. We didn't take any breaks, and we didn't get passed by anyone. In my very NFA style, I was like, we're going, and we're just going to keep going until we get to the top. And so we made it up in the same amount of time we made it down, and we did it in under 5 hours. So remember at the beginning, I said they were telling us, don't go, it's going to take you 9 to 12 hours. And it took us 5 hours. And we were pretty darn tired at the top. So here's us at the top talking about the journey. It ended up being about 32,000 steps. I think it was 31.5, somewhere around there, and a little over 12 miles. And we did it in under 5 hours. And so here's us sharing at the top. We did it in under 5 hours. Okay, right there is where we went from all the way up. 3,250 feet.
12 miles here and back.
Woohoo!
We did it.
I'm tired. And that is what I want to remind you about today. Just enjoy the journey. Life is so short. And you can either make a prison out of your business and out of your life, or you can enjoy the journey and take one small step at a time and get there. You'll get there. I don't know what your goals are. Put in the comments, like, what do you want? What do you want to create with your business? Put it in the comments. Share with me. I'm here for you. I love this journey. I am loving my life that I've designed, my business that I've designed. It is my joy to help you. I think of you when I'm on these hikes, and I think about, how can I teach this as a lesson and help people be inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered versions of themselves so they can lead kick-ass lives and businesses. Like, that is my why, that is my quest, and so I'm here for you. So put in the comments what your goals and your dreams are. Share with me what you got out of today's video. Cannot wait to see you again, and until next time, NFA money-making high fives.